Hello, welcome. My name is Miss Amy. I'm one of the librarians at the Goodnow Library, and I'm so excited that you're joining me this week for another Tales from Drumlin Farm, a special virtual field trip and story time to a very special place, Mass Audubon Drumlin Farm Wildlife Sanctuary. Drumlin Farm is located in Lincoln, Massachusetts, and it's a special place that I used to bring my kiddos to when they were little, and so I'm so excited that I get to share it with you this week and throughout the summer. This week we are going to be hooked on honeybees, and I'm back here at Drumlin Farm, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Mel Gadd, the Drumlin Farm beekeeper.
Hi everybody.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
Thanks so much for joining us today.
No problem. It'll be fun.
Yes, absolutely. So I just have a couple questions to start us off with, which is, what do you do as a beekeeper?
Okay, so we have close to 18 hives out here. So I do the maintenance on the hives. I take care of the hives, help the bees with their job. I also teach. We run a bee school where we teach people how to keep bees. We run an intermediate school for people who have done it and really want some more help. And then we do a lot of programs with the kids where we teach them about bees and what they can do with their families to help encourage more honeybees and the native bees.
Oh, that's wonderful. That all sounds wonderful. So that's another question. How many types of bees live here in New England?
So in New England, there are probably close to 1,000 native bees.
Whoa.
Honeybees are actually not native to this country. They were the original immigrants with the Pilgrims. They came over from Europe and Africa.
Okay.
But they're the largest number of bees. They're the only ones that we're able to manage and keep in hives. And they're the only ones that produce a surplus of honey, so we're able to take it for us and leave some for them.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's fascinating. So over 1,000 types of bees, but the honeybees. So today we are going to be talking specifically about honeybees.
About honeybees.
About honeybees. And you mentioned that honeybees have work to do. What's the work of the honeybee?
So honeybees will go out and forage, and they will bring back pollen and nectar to the hive. Pollen gets mixed with some what we call enzymes that helps to break it down, and it turns it into the bee's protein source. So just like we eat protein, the bees need protein.
Okay.
And then the nectar they convert by mixing with enzymes, and it breaks that nectar down into basically 2 different types of sugars, and then they put it into the cells in the hive, and then they have to dehydrate it, which means pull the moisture out of it.
Okay.
And when it gets to 17% or less moisture, it's then honey.
Oh,
and they cap it and they cap it to keep it fresh until they're ready to eat it. And the honey is the bee's carbohydrate. So just like we need carbohydrates, like bread or rice or pasta, they also need carbohydrates. The other thing, the big thing that they do is they pollinate our flowers and our crops.
Yep.
Without the bees and the other pollinators, we would lose 30 to 40% of the food we eat.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So they really have a major job for us.
Right. They have really important work to do.
Important work.
Important work. Wonderful. And another question I have for you, how can we all help honeybees?
Well, if you can convince your folks to keep bees, that would be great. The more bees out in the world, the better. Getting people to stop using so many chemicals, fertilizers, insecticides in their gardens would be great, because those chemicals get into the flowers, and when the bees drink the nectar and the pollen, it gets into their bodies and weakens them.
Right.
And the other thing is planting more wildflowers to give them a greater source of food.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't pick the dandelions in the spring.
Okay.
Because dandelions are one of the first flowers that come out, and the bees love them.
Okay.
And the dandelion greens, some people will use for salads.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So,
okay. Do you think it would be possible to get up close to a honeybee hive today?
we can get up close and personal.
That is very exciting. All right, everybody, we are going to count to 3 and head over to a hive. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, let's go! Here we are at a honeybee hive. And we look a little different, don't we? What do we have on here, Mel? Can you tell us about what we're wearing?
This is called a bee suit, and it's protective clothing to protect us, because when you go into the hive, you're going to upset the bees a little bit, and you don't want to get stung, and you don't want to get stung especially in the face. So we wear suits, and as protection. Sometimes we wear gloves. I normally don't wear shorts, but hey.
It's very hot today, everyone.
It's very hot, and with the bee suit on, you really, if you sweat a lot already, you really will sweat.
It's a little warm.
It's almost like a steam bath in here. But so.
Yeah. So, and what is this thing here?
So this is called a smoker. It's like a little chimney, and we start a fire with paper inside, and then we use either cotton or dried leaves or dried pine cones. And basically what some beekeepers do is they will spray smoke into the hive, and it makes the bees think, oh my God, there's a fire in the woods. So we have to pack up and leave. So they start engorging themselves with honey, and then they're getting ready to leave because they know they're going to need all that energy to create a new housing situation.
Okay, okay.
So I don't always use smoke. I at times, based on the weather, a day like today, I would probably use smoke because it's so hot.
Okay, okay.
But I don't like using smoke. I don't like exciting them to the point that they think they have to pack up and leave.
Okay, yeah.
So I will use a misting bottle filled with honey water and some other natural ingredients that I use to treat the bees. And I'll just go in and spray. And bees are really clean and neat, just like you guys are.
Oh, wow.
They keep their home really clean, just like you keep your rooms clean so you folks don't have to do it. It's my little bee joke. And they spend their time cleaning each other and let me do what I need to do. Okay?
All right. Well, I'm excited.
So we are gonna, I am going to puff a little smoke in the entrance.
Okay.
Let them know I'm coming. We're coming.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm starting to see some coming out.
So, can you see this? This green or brown stuff is called the propolis, which they tend to put on.
There they are.
You can see everybody.
Yes. And you can hear everybody too. I don't know if you can quite hear it yet.
They will stay a little quieter.
And I see there's a lot of different trays in here. Is that what you call them, trays?
These are frames.
Frames, okay.
So this is just the frame that they're still building out.
Okay.
And they're building out honeycomb.
That they are, look at that.
And the honeycomb is a hexagon because it's the most efficient shape for the bees. And they store their honey in there.
So they are building that hexagon.
Correct.
So the frames really are just plain wood pieces.
Right.
Right. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at them all, everybody. Wow.
What you see on here are the bees working. This is capped honey. So when they cap the honey, they use a very flat, creamy color or white color wax. And then the rounded cappings are brood, where there are babies that are developing into bees.
Oh, really?
And then if you were to be able to, I don't know if you really can see, you can see liquid in here, and that's the nectar. And they're slowly dehydrating it, pulling the moisture out. And when it gets to 7%, 17% or less, they'll cap it, because it's then honey. How they know it's 17% or less, I really have no idea. It's just in their DNA, and they can just tell.
Wow, that is fascinating.
So in the hive, there are 3 types of bees. There's one queen, and she's really a queen in name only. Her whole job in life is to lay eggs. That's it. She doesn't make any. The only decision she gets to make is whether an egg she lays is going to be a male bee or a female bee.
Okay.
Worker bees are females. They are fertilized. Male bees are called drones. They are not fertilized.
Okay.
The females run the show. They
Okay.
make all the decisions. They do all the work. But they really make decisions about what's going on in the hive. And when the queen gets old, they'll replace her by taking eggs she laid within 48 hours and feeding those eggs something they produce called royal jelly,
Okay, I've heard of
which
that
is
before.
a hormonal substance that helps the queen develop the organs she'll need to lay, are you ready for this? 2,000 eggs a day.
2,000 eggs a day?
Every day. And she will start laying, with climate change and the winters being warmer, we think she starts laying in early January now.
Really?
And she'll lay until middle of October.
Okay.
So that's, you can do the math on how many eggs she's laying.
Wow, that is a lot.
So at the height of the summer, there will be 60,000 bees in here.
60,000 bees inside this hive.
Inside this hive.
60,000 bees inside this hive. That's amazing. So I have a question. What happens in the winter then to the honeybees?
In the winter, the bees don't really sleep. The numbers will go down because the queen can live anywhere from 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
The worker bees can live basically during the season this time of year 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So that's why she has to keep laying eggs to keep the bees, the sustainable part of the hive going.
Mm-hmm.
In the winter, they will ball around her, the queen, keep her warm, and by the middle of the winter, they will have generated 90-degree temperature.
Really?
Which is what she needs to be able to lay her eggs and for them to develop.
Okay.
And then on a warm day when it's above 45, they'll come out and do a bathroom run.
Oh.
They won't go to the bathroom in the hive.
Oh, really? They
So
don't use
you
the
will-
bathroom in the hive?
No.
No, they have to go
They
out
don't
to use
have
the bathroom.
facilities in the hive.
Okay.
So if there's snow on the ground and it's a warm day, you can go by your hive and you will see yellow spots all over the snow, which is bee poop.
Oh, bee poop. All right, all right. Wow, that's fascinating. So they do live throughout the winter, but in the hive.
Some of them will
Some
live.
of them will
Most of the bees you see going in the late fall will die over winter, but more bees are being
Are
born.
being born. Wow, that is
And in the
fascinating.
winter, they'll live longer because they're not out flying and doing a lot of work.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a question. Have you ever been stung by a bee?
I periodically will get stung. It's the bee's way of letting me know I'm not doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
The only time they sting is if they feel threatened or they think their family, the hive, is being threatened. So stinging is their way of protecting themselves and everybody else. So otherwise, they will not sting you.
Yeah.
Most people who get stung are stung by yellow jackets or wasps or
Okay.
hornets.
So not honeybees.
Not honeybees.
Not honeybees.
And a honeybee, when they sting you, unfortunately, they die. So they don't really want to sting you.
Right.
But
right.
to protect themselves or the family, they will.
They will. Okay. Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give someone when a bee comes around them?
Just stand still.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to swat your arms at it like you normally would if a bug is coming near you. And they'll just fly right around you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mel, for joining us today and telling us all about this hive and honeybees. It's fascinating. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now I think we should go find a nice cozy spot to read our story today. So let's all count together. 1, 2, 3, let's go! Here I am in front of a different hive here at Drumlin Farm. And in fact, I'm in the children's garden here in the farm core. And I thought this would be a great spot to read our story today. So today's story is called The Honeybee. And it's by Kirsten Hall and Isabel Arsenault. The Honeybee. A field, a tree, climate, and sea. For miles all around you grow wild and free. Flowers! Look at all those amazing flowers. But then, shh, what's that? Do you hear it? You're near it. It's closer, it's coming, it's buzzing, it's humming. A bee! 4 tiny wings, they buzz and they sing. They're clapping and flapping, the busy bees lapping. Lap, 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 tap, tap, tap. Searching, perching. This one. This is the flower the bee has chosen. This is the flower the pollen grows in. This is the flower, its color so bright. Its sweet blooming scent calls the bee from its flight. Such a long trip. It's time for a sip. Sugary, watery nectar. There now, it drills now. The bee sips and spills now. There now, it swills now. It sits oh so still now. There now, it fills now. It's back to the hill now. More pollen, more nectar. It's mealtime. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, a crowd, swarming and teeming and loud. Flapping, flying, landing, prying. All of this nectar, it's ours, it's ours. They work on the flowers for hours and hours until little bees with heavy sacks, lifting, shifting, turning back. Zoom they race, zoom they chase, zoom they zoom and pick up the pace, and then zoom they see it up ahead. Our hive, our hive, our hiding hive, our hiding place. Watch them arrive, watch how their hive buzzes alive, buzz. Where are the flowers you found today? This bee is asking this other bee. Dance for us foragers, show us the way. So this bee is asking this bee to dance and show the way to the flowers. A dance begins. Waggle, wiggle. The dance is lovely. Tremble, jiggle. The dance goes straight now. In a line, a figure 8 is the final sign. So you can see they're dancing and they're showing the way. Oh, now we know. We know where to go. Thanks for the secrets. And thanks for the show. New foragers leave on a searching mission, while house bees march forward with hungry ambition. So now we're going to see what happens in the hive, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Chew, chew, that's what we do. We suck out the nectar, we suck it straight through. Chew, chew, we're changing its makeup. We're giving the nectar a chemical shake-up. Chew, chew, we make it like glue. Make it thick, make it stick, make it slick, make it new. Chew, 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 chew. At last, we're finally through. But there's more to do at home. Like fill the honeycomb, like we saw when Mel pulled out those frames. They jam at cells with nectar plaster, then rev up their engines and beat their wings faster. Whoosh, they're strong despite their size. Swoosh, the nectar cools and dries. It's getting thicker now. Wings move quicker now. Fan, fast, pump, blast. We did it, we did it. It's honey at last. So they've made the honey. And now, to keep it safe, tiny honey cells are capped. Liquid gold is sealed and trapped. And only when it's needed most, a hungry day, will these vaults be tapped. So Mel talked about that, right? That once the honey is done, they cap it. And they'll eat it later. Outside the hive come shorter days. It looks like it's turning to fall time. Cooler winds and softer rays. Fewer eggs to birth and raise. With the queen less busy, the hive's less buzzy. And bees amass all soft and fuzzy. Here's the queen bee. Come now, rest. Join our nest. Huddle and cuddle. The winter's our test. So Mel talked about this, right? That they huddle around the queen all winter long. And now it's winter time and there's snow, but they're still in that hive. And they're keeping that queen warm and themselves warm, and they're eating some of that honey that they made. Pop, a bud. Drip, some mud. Creatures stir in the melting snow. And inside the hive, the bees, they know. Hum, it's springtime, hum, life anew. One little bee in a tree knows what to do. Watch it, zoom! A field, a tree, climate and sea. From a faraway hive flew this hard-working, honey-sweet bee. The end. So that's the whole story that we kind of went through with Mel today. Everything that happens with the honeybee, how they go out and they find that pollen and nectar, and they bring it back, turn it into honey, and what they do in the winter time. Well, I hope you are all reading wonderful stories this summer. And for those of you participating in the Good Now Library's summer reading program, I hope you're keeping good track of those minutes. And I hope you will join me next week when we will be captivated by crows. See you then. Bye-bye.